So today, I want to walk you through 7 specific exercises or habits that I believe every senior should reconsider. I'm not saying movement is bad, not at all. In fact, it's life-giving. But how we move, especially after 60, can either preserve our heart or quietly push it toward danger. These aren't horror stories or scare tactics. These are truths I've witnessed firsthand over decades as a heart specialist, and if sharing them means saving even one more heart from silent strain, it's worth every word. Let's start with the one that's taken the fitness world by storm, but might just be the storm your heart doesn't need. 1. High-intensity interval training. When sweat becomes strain. The harder you push, the stronger you get, but for seniors, that can be a dangerous myth. It starts innocently. A friend recommends it. A YouTube coach says it's the best way to burn fat fast, and before long, you're gasping through cycles of jumping jacks, sprinting in place, and pushing yourself into breathless bursts of activity. I've watched this play out more times than I can count. Seniors, especially those still feeling youthful, think, if younger folks can do it, why can't I? But here's the truth. After 60, our hearts don't bounce back the way they used to. They don't handle those sharp spikes in exertion with the same elasticity. Heat, with its short bursts of maximum effort followed by brief rests, might sound efficient, but what it demands from the cardiovascular system can be overwhelming for an aging heart. When you're young, your arteries are flexible, your heart strong and responsive. But as you get older, your heart often has to work harder just to keep up with your body's basic needs. Layer on sudden, intense exercise, and you've got a recipe for hidden damage. I've had patients who felt great one day and then collapsed after a session they thought was just a little tough. It wasn't a massive heart attack that got them, at least not yet. It was smaller, silent things, blood pressure spikes they didn't feel, irregular rhythms that made them lightheaded but were brushed off. They thought they were just tired, maybe dehydrated, but no, these were warning signs. Red flags the heart was waving before something worse happened. And it's not always about how you feel right after the workout. Sometimes the damage builds slowly. A strain here, an arrhythmia there. Your body adjusts to stress silently until it can't anymore. So if you've been drawn to HIIT, I understand why. It feels like progress. But what I've seen time and again is that HIIT for seniors often becomes a quiet threat disguised as effort. Instead, go for movement that honors your heart's pace. Gentle walks, slow dancing, Tai Chi, activities that keep you moving without forcing your heart to sprint to catch up. 2. Core crunches and heavy lifting when strength becomes a struggle. Lifting to build muscle is noble, but lifting without care can crush your heart's rhythm. There's something empowering about feeling strong. I get it. Being able to carry your groceries, get up from a chair unassisted, or even flex in the mirror is a kind of freedom many seniors chase. And strength training plays a big role in maintaining independence. But here's the problem. Crunches, sit-ups, and heavy lifting are not just about muscles. They put pressure in places most seniors never think about. Every time you strain during a sit-up or hold your breath while lifting a weight, you're increasing intra-abdominal and thoracic pressure. That pressure doesn't just stay in your core. It pushes against your heart, and an aging heart, especially one dealing with stiff arteries or hidden plaque, isn't built to handle that kind of internal stress. I remember a patient who came in after fainting at the gym. He'd been doing crunches, determined to flatten his belly. His heart rhythm had gone haywire, not because of any external trauma, but because the pressure from inside his own body had thrown things off. I've seen others lift weights that were just too heavy, believing the old rule of no pain, no gain. They gained all right, but it was elevated blood pressure, dizziness, and in some cases, emergency room visits. It's not that seniors shouldn't train for strength. You absolutely should, but it's about how. Resistance bands, slow and controlled movements, and exercises performed with proper breathing, these are your allies. You can build strength without shocking your system. And in your 60s or 70s, that's exactly what your heart needs. 3. Exercising in extreme temperatures, when the weather becomes the enemy. You might feel brave walking in the cold or sweating in the heat, but your heart feels cornered. I've always admired the discipline it takes to stick to a routine, rain or shine. But over the years, I've learned something the hard way. The environment you choose to exercise in matters just as much as the exercise itself. Cold mornings, hot afternoons, both can be surprisingly dangerous for seniors. See, your body's ability to regulate temperature weakens with age. In the cold, your blood vessels constrict to preserve heat. That causes your blood pressure to rise, an invisible strain for many seniors. In the heat, your vessels widen, but your heart has to pump faster to cool you down. Add dehydration to that, and you're walking into serious cardiovascular stress without even realizing it. I can't tell you how many seniors I've treated who collapsed on what they thought was just a brisk morning walk or a quick afternoon jog. They weren't out of shape. They weren't neglecting their health. They simply didn't realize how much their body was struggling to balance internal temperature. It's heartbreaking because it's preventable. You don't need to cancel your walk, you just need to time it better. Early mornings in the summer, midday in the winter, and preferably indoors when conditions are extreme. Hydrate. Dress in layers. Choose comfort over challenge. Your heart doesn't care how pretty the sky looks, it cares how safe the temperature is. 4. Jumping, rapid movements, and sudden direction changes. When motion turns to mayhem. Fast movements feel exciting, but to an older heart, they feel like chaos. I've always believed that movement is medicine, but not all medicine suits every body. For seniors, sudden bursts of motion, jumping, quick turns, burpees, aerobics that leave you breathless can cause more confusion inside your body than benefit. The older we get, the slower our nervous system reacts. Balance declines, arteries stiffen. The body's internal systems, especially the cardiovascular one, don't adapt quickly to surprise. A simple jump can cause a blood pressure spike. A quick twist might throw off your rhythm. Not your dance rhythm, your heart rhythm. I've seen people try to keep up in group classes. They don't want to feel old or be left behind, but then they show up at my clinic describing dizzy spells or pounding hearts that started out of nowhere. But it's never really out of nowhere. It's out of a moment when their body was overwhelmed by demand. You're not weak for choosing slower movement. In fact, you're wise. Water aerobics, tai chi, or simple stretching may look slow, but inside they're doing powerful things, stabilizing your blood flow, calming your nervous system, and supporting your heart. 5. Exercising too late at night. When good intentions steal sleep, even the gentlest movement at the wrong time can steal your heart's chance to heal. This one surprises most people. I've had so many patients proudly tell me they fit in their workout after dinner. Just a light cardio session, they say. But here's the thing. Your heart, like your mind, needs downtime, especially at night. As we age, our sleep becomes lighter and more fragile. Our circadian rhythms become more sensitive. And exercise, even gentle movement, raises your body temperature, stimulates adrenaline, and tells your body to stay alert. That's not what you want before bed. I've seen seniors suffer from insomnia, elevated nighttime blood pressure, and increased inflammation, all linked to late-night exercise. Your heart repairs itself while you sleep, and if you don't give it that time, it doesn't heal, it endures. So please, move in the morning or early afternoon. Let your evenings be about rest, about slowing down, because when the sun sets, your body needs to shift from performance to peace. That's how your heart finds its strength again. 6. Ignoring your body's warnings. When listening could save a life. Your heart whispers before it screams. Are you listening? There's a phrase I've heard too often. I didn't think it was a big deal. I've heard it from seniors in hospital beds recovering from heart events that in hindsight were preceded by subtle signs. A little dizziness, a flutter in the chest, fatigue that lingered too long. As a heart doctor, I've learned to trust those whispers. They're the body's way of saying, hey, something's off. But too often we push through. We write it off as aging. We keep moving, keep lifting, keep doing because we think that's strength. But real strength is awareness. It's noticing when something doesn't feel right and having the courage to stop, to ask, to adjust. You don't need to be fearless. You need to be attentive. Your body isn't betraying you. It's asking for your care. 7. Doing nothing at all when stillness becomes the final risk. Stopping the wrong exercises is smart, but stopping movement altogether is a different kind of danger. Now, after everything I've said, I need to be clear about one thing. Movement matters. Stopping harmful exercises doesn't mean stopping altogether, because the greatest danger of all, especially as we age, is inactivity. The heart is a muscle, and like any muscle, it weakens if you don't use it. I've seen seniors become fearful of movement, of strain, of doing something wrong, so they stop. But what follows is decline. Muscles fade. Balance slips. The heart slows and stiffens. The key is in moving wisely, not intensely, not recklessly, just consistently, kindly, and with purpose, because a still body invites stillness in the heart, and that's the risk we don't want to take. And let me tell you, I've never met a senior who wished they had moved less, only those who wished they had moved smarter. Even a slow daily walk around the block can be more powerful than a high-impact workout if it's done with consistency and care. Movement doesn't have to look like exercise. It can be gardening, dancing in the kitchen, or just stretching while watching the news. It's not about burning calories anymore. It's about keeping your heart engaged, your joints mobile, and your spirit awake. So don't fear movement. Fear losing what movement protects: your independence, your clarity, your ability to fully live each day. If there's one thing I want you to walk away with, it's this: aging isn't about limits. It's about adjustment. You don't need to train like you're 30. You need to train like someone who's wise enough to know better. Each of these exercises I've asked you to stop, they're not bad in a general sense. They're just not made for the realities of an aging heart. That's not fear. That's biology. And honoring that truth is what keeps you strong, steady, and alive. Move with care, move with purpose, and above all, move with your heart in mind. Please like, share, and subscribe if you believe others need to hear this too. Your heart deserves this kind of love, and so does theirs.